big exclusive voice we have on the show today. He heads a storied venture capital firm in Silicon Valley, Menlo Ventures, but more importantly, he is the chairman-elect of the National Venture Capital Association, or the NVCA, which is the industry body for venture capitalists in the US. We're talking about Venky Ganesan, who joins us all the way from Palo Alto on ET Now Startup Central today. Venky, such a pleasure having you on ET Now Startup Central. Let me kick it off then with the NVCA aspect. You know, you're taking charge next month as chairman, but what is your own strategy going to be? What will you really looking at doing as the head of this body?
I think the strategy is simple. The NVCA is about representing the National Venture Capital Association in the US and the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We want to support entrepreneurs all over the US and all over the world because we believe entrepreneurship is the engine that drives economic growth for the whole world.
All right, Venky, this is Krishna coming to you from 18 Hours Mumbai studios. You are taking charge at a time when there are huge questions surrounding investments and startups and valuations and etc. etc. Bill Gurley warned about the waning unicorn fantasy just a few days ago. Tell us, what is your own assessment of how year 2016 is going to be?
So the story of capitalism always is of bubbles and bursts, right? You need capitalists come in and fund companies, and sometimes they get overexcited and the companies end up raising more money than they should. But I think this is a very natural part of capitalism. We need this. Are there unicorns that are not going to make it? Yes. But fundamentally, the disruptions driving the global economy, mobile, social, cloud, remain intact. And I think the opportunities to build amazing companies remains intact. I'm very bullish long term, but I do think there will be a correction in the late stage market.
Any specific segments of Spain that you want to talk about, Venky? I mean, we've read so much about Theranos, for example, in the last few months, a success story that is facing a lot of trouble. But any particular pockets of concern that you want to talk about?
Yeah, and I think, a few. I think this whole notion of e-commerce and e-commerce companies that are losing money, those are not sustainable. And I know that you have some of them in India too. In general, I think that companies that are giving away $1 for 95 cents, they're not going to make it. I'm old-fashioned enough to believe that it's not about raising money, it's about getting revenues. And in the last few years, companies have been talking about how much money they raised. I'd rather they talk about how much money they have made.
I want to talk about how much money they make. Venky, it's a situation we are seeing here in India as well, with the largest e-commerce player, Flipkart, getting marked down by 2 mutual funds in the last 2 months. Are there India-specific issues then because of the high customer acquisition costs over here and the cash burn, or is this a broader trend according to you?
I think it's a worldwide issue. It's not specific to India. But in general, people have been focused on growth at all costs. That's not sustainable. What we need is sustainable, profitable growth. I'd rather companies grow at a good pace, still making money, than grow at a very strong pace but losing money. And I think we have come to the point where it's no longer growth at all costs.
Venky, notwithstanding the whole caution around consumer internet, the fact stays that, India has one of the most vibrant startup ecosystems. The number of startups is only growing every day. So what is NVCA's engagement going to be going forward with startups in India?
Now, so the National Venture Capital Association is a trade association for venture capitalists in the US, which is the biggest market for venture capital. But when you look into the future, one will clearly believe that India will become. I think India, China, Israel, in addition to the US, are going to be the largest venture capital markets. We at the NVCA would like to see venture capital thrive everywhere. So I would love to work with venture capitalists in India to make sure that we continue to push the industry forward and remain the best source of capital for entrepreneurs worldwide.
Venky, as far as funding is concerned, the bygone financial year saw, the funding tap all but dry up. Tell us, what are the broad trends that you see for venture capitalist investments, for the new financial year?
Yeah, a lot of discussion in India has been around these kind of hyper-local e-commerce startups. I think they're interesting, but that's not where all the excitement is. When I look at the excitement here, it is around focus on cybersecurity. That I think will be a very big area of investing for the next few years. I think it's around drone technologies, because I think drones are going to be a game changer. And then it's around virtual reality and augmented reality. So to me, the exciting areas of investing tend to be more on that side than on e-commerce startups.
Venky, if there is one pain point or bugbear which you believe the government here needs to address to really welcome more venture capital into India, what would that be? Of course, VCs have been hogging the limelight for all the wrong reasons in recent weeks, if you go by what happened at Sequoia.
I think the biggest thing is we got to change the cultural mindset. I think the history of colonialism has made us very suspicious as Indians about people who come to trade. But trading is how we create wealth. And we need to welcome capitalism, not make that into a bad word. When I hear about things that the government is raiding Sequoia Capital's offices, that does not feel like a welcome to venture capitalists and capital from abroad. I think we need to culturally change, and rather than worry about people taking advantage of this, know that Indians worldwide can compete in the global market. I grew up in India, but I live in America. I'm an American citizen. Across America, I see Indian Americans leading Fortune 500 companies and making an impact. I would tell Indians, don't worry, you can do it, and you should feel confident to compete in the global market.
But Venky, the view, is pretty much divided as far as Sequoia is concerned. Some have come down heavily on the government for going after them. Others have questioned the inflated price they came in at and why they dealt with politicians. So, can you really brush aside those concerns?
So I do not know the details of this issue, but I do know that Sequoia Capital is one of the best venture capital firms out there. I know a lot of people out there. They are one of the most honorable, high integrity, high achieving folks I know. I don't know the details of this case, but I just think that it's important to deal with these issues with sensitivity and respect to everyone concerned.
All right, Venky, we will wrap things up on that note. Venky Ganesan of Menlo Ventures, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on ET Now Startup Central. And here's wishing you all the best for your term at the NVCA in the US.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.